Hello everybody. Now this time around we're gonna deconstruct or tear down the engine so we can actually repair some of the gaskets and seals. It's been leaking oil, not too much, but enough for me to to bother me at this point. Not only that, it has also started to seep some oil into the cooling system. I've discovered that in looking into the reservoir right here. That is not good. It could clog the radiator and damage other components. So I think it's time that I actually invest some more of my time to take care of my engine and my car, right? So what are we replacing? Well, first of all, I bought this kit right here. This is the part number. Got it off online. Pretty good price, by the way. Just to include all these parts, all these gaskets and seals. I think it was a good value, so I got it online instead of doing getting each of these parts on its own would have cost. Coming back to the car, what we're gonna do is we're gonna prep it first. I'm gonna disable the fuel pump module, so when I start it up, it's gonna starve the engine of fuel, basically causing it to lower some of the pressure in the system for me to be able to disconnect some of the fuel lines in here. We're also gonna, but to start off with, also we're gonna take off the battery and take off all of these items in the engine here, starting with the cold air intake, moving our way over to the coil, wires, spark plugs, wires, as well as some of the components over here. Now these might not look like yours. Mine has an updated cold air intake system, but it has the same connections. It's got basically the same thing. So I'll walk you through this. But before we start taking everything off, the first thing is, like I said, is disconnecting the fuel pump module, the battery, and draining the fluids of both the oil and the radiator. That will give us what we need to start working on taking this apart. Now, in addition, since I'm going to be taking the engine apart, I might as well change the water pump, since we're going to get access to it at that point once we disassemble the engine. So we'll see that part as well. But I'm going to take it a step further. Since I'm taking the plenum apart and taking the valve head covers apart, I'm actually going to paint them as well. I painted this originally. It was really nice red metallic. It kind of turned orange with the heat, and it is an engine paint, so it should have withstand the heat, but it did not. Now on this side, it's basically a really nice red. This is a different type of paint. I'm gonna paint it this time, so it kind of has a whole theme. And the plenum itself, I'm gonna prep it. Another video, I'll show you how to paint it, prep it and paint it. And it should a nice black matte color or satin color, I think is what the can I'm gonna get for engine. I've heard that you don't need high temperature paint, but it's not a bad idea to go just a little step further, and why not take care of it just in case. So I had replaced this hose. This was the actual original OEM hose, but I wrapped it in silicone tape, so it looks a lot nicer. I'm gonna have to remove that. It took me a hard time to put it on, so it's okay. And then the bottom one is a silicone hose. Unfortunately, those are not really good quality. I noticed that they start sweating, or basically the coolant itself they're permeable. Actually, they are not the best, to be honest. So I made my own, and and it looks much better than the other one. So once we get back to reassembling the engine, I'll be replacing it with an original hose and just wrapping it in silicone tape like I did with this one. I'm also gonna get a new reservoir tank because this one is well, it looks dated. I really like shiny things here. All right, well, let's get started. First of all, let's walk over to the back of the car. I have already started the process. And here in the back, in the driver's side, if you remove the cover, this is usually a screw right here, you can unplug this module right here. There's a cable, I already did. It has a little clip on it, so you have to raise it from the top a little bit. You might have to use a screwdriver or your nail and pull it down. With that, you can start the engine and let it just stall, and that should be enough. And then we can move on to unplugging the and removing the battery. All right, let's get to it. Right, the engine is running. I had to plug it back in because that didn't work. In the past it has, but this time around we'll just I'll let it get to the stable revs, and then I'll unplug it and you'll see what will happen. There you go, the revs are coming down. Unplugged. Almost immediately. Dead. Okay, that's it. Now, after disabling the fuel pump and starving the engine of fuel, we're gonna unplug and remove the battery. We start off by removing the negative cable first, followed by the positive, and then there's another bolt down here that holds the battery in place. Just remove that. I believe it's a 9mm, I don't recall. It could be smaller. And that's it. That's what you need, and then we'll move on to draining the fluids. Let's put that to the side. For now. I'm using an 11 mm for this. There we go. An 8 for the bolt down here. There we go. Battery out. Now this will give us some room to place some of the components that we're going to remove over to this side. But let's drain the fluids now. So we're going to have to raise the vehicle and get ready for that. So the car is now securely up on jack stands. Let's get under here to take a look. You can see there's some fluid here, coolant that's been leaking. Not sure if the radiator's gone bad. Not 100% sure, but it's likely. I might have to replace it. But what we're gonna do is I'm gonna use this little piece of PVC hose right here, plastic hose. There is a little outlet you can really see the little spout right there. I'm gonna plug this in and then have it. And then there's a screw, as you can see that little white screw right there, that nut. Loosen it up and it will start draining the fluid. So I'm gonna try to guide it into a container. But I'm also going to go under there and drain the oil. So that's the next step. I'm not gonna film this, I'll film the aftermath. Fluids have been drained, so the radiator's empty. There's no more oil in the engine. So next we're gonna remove the cold air intake. In this case, we're just gonna unplug this sensor right here. Just a plug on the side, just press on it. And same here, pull, just press on it and slide it off. So those two connectors are off. Next we can from the throttle body, we can just pull this one. It's gonna take a little bit of force to pry it off, but it will come off. I guess I need both my hands. And this one comes pull up, just like so. As you can see, it just flips on. So very careful, this is plastic. You don't wanna break it. This one, there we go. Like I said, I just needed a little more of a grip. Here's another sensor right here on the throttle body. Again, there's you push in a little tab on the left side and pull back. All right, with that, I'm gonna unscrew this one right here, then this one right here, so I can remove this part right here, and then I'll be able to get to these two screws. These screws are very long, so I am not going to be able to take them off without taking this off first. And then we'll take off the actual filter. This will give us room, so when we remove some of the components, especially from the AC, the compressor, we can just, when we unhook them, and all completely, they'll be dangling really, we'll just place them in this bay right over here, okay? So with that, I'm going to stop the recording for now and just unscrew, like I said, these two items here, and then we'll get to the next part. Cold air intake is off. Now we're going to disconnect a few more things. From the throttle body, there's this exhaust. Sometimes they're stuck pretty good, and I need that grip with two hands. Oh, we'll try that later. Okay, so let's slide this off. That came off a little easier. All right, there's another sensor. That one, I might need to use a screwdriver. Or not. Just press in, and it'll slide right off. I'll need a, what is that, a 5/16 maybe? To take this off. Then we'll put, pull this one off as well. And then I think from there, I'm gonna concentrate on removing the coil right over here by first unplugging these cables from the spark plugs, and then I'm trying to avoid removing all these from this side, just to be a little more efficient right now. And then we'll take this off. Here's a little more of the exhaust breathers we can remove. But we gotta be careful with these because I don't want to break them. They seem a little more brittle now, so I'm gonna have to use some tweezers, maybe pliers. Well, I'll try that later. For now, those are the next steps. We'll see what more progress I made after this. Well, I was able to remove the throttle body. We can see that by inspecting this inside, there is some oil. Not good. So I'm pretty sure that there's a gasket. It's messed up on this side. We'll take care of that with this kit. On the other side, I was able to remove more of the vacuum hoses. Fortunately, the one down here broke, so I'm gonna have to figure out how to fix that one. Maybe this one as well. And for the coil, there's this piece here that is attached to that screw, which is also part of the throttle. That's the cruise control, and I don't know. I mean, it's not like it's part of it, but it's zip tied to it. I'll unscrew by unscrewing this bottom right side. It will let go of that component. We'll remove the coil, and then we'll get to more hoses and cables. And after that, I believe we have to remove this piece right here in the front. Let's see, what else do we need for the throttle body to come apart? I'm sorry, the throttle body, the Plenum. I believe that would be it. This one is out. Just put it to the side so we don't mess with it. Let's see what else. That seems to be it, and then we'll be able to get to the fuel injectors. So coil now, Plenum next,
And the way we're going to be removing the plenum is, as based on my research, since this is torqued down, is you work from the outside in. So loosen the crack loose the ones on the side, then work just to the middle, and then start loosening them up until you can be able to remove them by hand. And that should be enough. We'll see how that goes. There we go. And the coil is off. All right, we're gonna use a 10mm to remove these two bolts right here. Wow, they're a little bit long, but it's fine. It's part of the hobby, right? Alright. Almost there. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. Whoa, there's a lot of stuff that's brittle around here. Let's see. Can I safely move this away? Well, I guess it will stay loose for now. I will want to lose these. So what I do is typically I would screw them back to the original part so I don't lose them. But I'm gonna paint the plenum. So I'm gonna tape those two screws to that bracket right there. But that's it. I guess from here we can remove the plenum. We'll be right back. All right, in the back there's a plastic, or there's some cables that are wrapped around, and there's a plastic clip that is holding it to the plenum. I used this tool right here, which is a good way to pull on some of these clips, but unfortunately it broke. It's just so brittle. That's okay, it's not essential. Now we're gonna go ahead and unscrew the top, again working from the outside in. And it looks like it's an 8mm bit I'm gonna be using. There's a total of 3 in the front, 2 in the center, and 4 in the back. We're gonna start with the 1 in the front. Okay, I might need a bigger wrench. This is not gonna do it. They're torqued in there. Alright, I switched to a 5/16, much bigger wrench. Let's see how that goes. Good. Cracked. Sit side. Good. Oh, it's mistaken. There's 3 in the center. That's fine. I thought there was an extra 1 there. Alright, so that's a total of 10. I believe I got all of them. Yeah. Them all out. Now they believe they are in different sizes, so maybe just loosen them up. But I'm not gonna take them all out. I just want them loose so I can pick up the plenum. Switch sides for a minute. Missing. What? It's stuck. Just a few taps to loosen it up. Oh, I forgot too. They're not very visible. Here they are. Should be 12 if I'm not mistaken. 12 total. There again, shall we? Yeah, success. Success, my friends. We got it. Alrighty. Alright. Alright, so the next thing is to cover these holes and out of tape. We don't want anything to go inside these holes, you know, we don't want to lose any parts. So we'll cover those. Funny thing is, I didn't see the gasket in there. Must be stuck to the bottom of the plenum. It's actually pretty clean, and as far as the mating surface is concerned. So we covered the holes here, those ports. We don't want any screws to fall in. Like I said, here's a broken piece. You see the little attachment right there. It's not a big deal. But okay, when I removed this plenum, there was no gasket. I'm really wondering if it's underneath the plenum itself. We'll take a closer inspection. I will be removing this piece right here. You don't have to if you're just replacing gaskets, but I'm gonna be prepping this piece here to paint it. It's gonna look nice when it's black. It's gonna have black and red accents over the engine, and anything that's shiny, I'm gonna keep it metallic, of course. I wanna do that. Anything. And now that we're here, we should be able to get to the. Here is the fuel rail. Goes around the fuel system where we can get to the injectors. Now we can pull those off, and you can basically just unclip them. You can just here's one, so you can see what they look like. That's one right there. So if I recall, you press down on one side and pull them out. And there's going to be multiple of these here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, then we remove the fuel rail. We'll get to the electrical. I believe at the point we can remove the electrical harness that goes around, and then we can get to the front elements here. They'll give us access to more room, which would be by removing the hose, the alternator, or the belt, of course. We're going to start with that. We're going to remove that pulley right there. That will give us access to this bracket. This bracket will then allow us to get some screws that are behind there, and it will also give us access to the fuel pump, which is the water pump, which I'll be replacing. Might as well, if you're doing this type of work, take the extra time to replace it. If you've never replaced it, now's a good time. And then we'll get to the cylinder heads, covers, and the cylinder heads themselves, and then to every other piece in the center of the engine here. Pretty good work for today. So we'll call it for today and continue tomorrow.